Welcome to another episode of Conversations on Purpose. And today I have another wonderful guest, none other than Sister Shaunette. Everybody, welcome to Conversations on Purpose. So, why don't you go ahead and just give us a quick introduction, who you are, what do you do, and what are we going to be talking about today?
All right. As you said, my name is Shaunette. The mother of four.
All right.
Yep. I have the mother of four, and I have two grandbabies.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh, yeah. I would be punished if I didn't mention those two. All right. And by profession, I am a social worker for 23 years, concentration on homeless families, and working towards stability for them after coming through that traumatic experience of not having somewhere to call home. So I've done that for 23 years, and within the past 2 years, have been struggling to make a decision on changing course in my career. Not because I don't want to help no more, but because I believe that I have a greater calling and a more deeper nest of help. And because of that, I was forced by the Spirit of God and by life circumstances to go back to school. And I did, I obeyed. After a bit of struggling, I obeyed. And December of 2022, I completed a master's program in epidemiology.
All right, you're gonna have to educate me on all that because that's foreign world for me. So let me tell you a little bit about what we want to do today. So we have a viewership that wants to learn and grow, and the purpose of this show is to encourage women.
Yes.
And when you told me your story, I was like, okay, can you come on and just tell us? You told me I love her title. From depression
Yes.
to degree
Yes.
through divine intervention,
Yes.
everybody. All
Yes.
right.
Yes.
So talk to me about how did this come about for you? What was this period of depression, and talk to me about this divine intervention.
So about 3 years ago, I started. Life handed me a deck of cards that I was not ready for. And through that deck of cards, I had two choices. I either decided to throw the cards down and walk away, or I played the card to the best of my ability, hoping that somebody along life's journey have one of the cards that I need to win the game. And through trying to figure out what this game was about, depression came in because I did not know how to handle separation, right? And I took it real hard. I became depressed. I became suicidal. I had a suicidal attempt. And it's only because of divine intervention why I can sit here now and talk about this.
Praise the Lord.
It has been a journey. But throughout the journey, God kept reminding me that this is not about you. This is not about you. And I have more other ladies, especially ladies, who needs to hear your story. So take yourself out of this and trust the process.
Yes.
And that's what I had to do. So I was diagnosed manic depressive in August of 2022, and didn't know what to do with that. Okay. And before I was diagnosed, I did have a suicide attempt because I did not know how to play this card that was given to me. So I thought that ending my life was the best answer. I was a problem. I was told I was crazy. I was told I was mad. I was told all sort of stuff. And I told myself that if I am all of this, then I have no place here and I have no use. And I took it upon myself one early morning to attempt suicide by West Haven Beach by drowning. And as I was walking in the water, in the back of my mind, I knew what I wanted to do,
Mm-hmm.
but I did not solidify it by saying I wanted to kill myself. I said I wanted to take a walk to Long Island. That's what I told myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think if I had said I wanted to kill myself, I would have gone in the water.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew I did not want to exist either.
Mm-hmm.
So I told myself I'm going to take a walk to Long Island. And walking into the water got to about here. And I heard my name call.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't pay attention to it. And I kept walking and the water get higher. And my name was called again.
Mm-hmm.
This time I turned around to see who was calling who would be out in the water with me.
Right.
Only to know God was there with me. God was there with me. I turned around, there was no one there. But what I saw was a duck with 4 babies behind her. And that's when I realized that this is my divine intervention.
Mm-hmm.
My children needs me.
Yeah.
I had to turn around. I couldn't walk to Long Island anymore. So I turned around, went home in my wet clothes, and went back to the place that I knew best, my dark, dirty room. And I laid in my bed crying, realizing like, wow, what did I just was about to do?
Yeah.
And my son was home that day. And I heard his feet coming down the staircase. And he landed, boom. And he bust my door wide open. And he said to me, he said, are you going to let this thing kill you? I said, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. He said, no, you're not. I said, I'm fine. He said, I was upstairs in my bedroom. I felt your heart beating in my chest. And it was irregular. Why are you wet? And I could not answer him. I did not have the guts to open my mouth to tell him what had just transpired.
Yeah.
So he said, sit up, sit up. And I sat up in the bed. He said, stand up. I stood up. And by then he ripped my sheet off my bed. He said, go in the bathroom, get a shower, and come back out. I did that. By the time I got back to my bedroom, he ripped all my sheets off, rolled it up, throw it down, and he said, you get dressed and then you can lay back down. This time you're going to lay down in a clean set of sheets. And he said, I hope when you lay down in those clean set of sheets, you will give yourself permission to think clearly. I laid down. He grabbed my laptop and he said, and now it's time for a positive distraction. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's time for you to go back to school. I said, nope. I can't do this now. My mind is not in the right place. He said, yes. Because if you don't do something positive, Ma, you're going to kill yourself. Only if he knew that I had just wanted to or attempted to.
Wow.
And from there on, God kept reminding me that just trust me with your brain. Trust me with your brain. And he provided me with an exceptional spiritual therapist, a female, that played a role in my diagnosis, played a role in my treatment process, played a role in me even thinking of going back to school. And the day came for me to go back to school. And my first semester, don't ask me about it because I don't remember nothing. Honestly.
Yeah.
I don't remember nothing. I did well, but I did not absorb anything because my brain capacity was not there. But I knew I had to go. I knew I had to do it. And I remember God ordained one of my professors to be in classroom that day. And when I walked in the classroom and the lecture was over, she said to me, I want to speak with you. And after everybody exited the classroom, she said to me, what do I need to do to help you finish this course?
Wow.
Huh? She said, I see it in your eyes
Yeah.
that you're struggling with something. She said, but I want to tell you that any day you get up to come to class and you're not at your 100, don't come. And you won't be penalized.
What?
These are all my divine interventions.
I know, because I didn't have no professor like
Yes,
that.
these are all my divine interventions throughout all of this depression. But by the time it got to my second semester, I was in full gear. I was in full gear. Now I wanted to live. I wanted to live. No more suicidal thoughts existed. But my depression, it fluctuates. Okay, there are days when I'm at my best, and there are days when I'm just existing, not living.
Yeah.
But over the time, it has gotten better. It has gotten better through God's help. My children, a circle of people that God has placed in this journey. And God has also let me understand that I'm not crazy. He said, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And he has now allowed me to even to share this with others.
Yeah. This is huge. Because in the beginning, when you started talking, I was tearing up. I was like, oh gosh, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. Because this is powerful. And a lot of women who are going to listen to this episode were probably either you at one point, right? And I don't know what got them through it, but you are able to give this wonderful testimony of how God pulled you out of that. Now I have to go back to the water real quick.
Yes.
And the mother duck and her four ducklings. Come on now. Come on. Can it be any plainer
Yep.
that it's not your time?
Not my time. Not my time.
Wow. And then your son, I want to say when you're telling me your son's doing this, I feel like it wasn't even him talking.
Nope.
But I don't even know your son.
Yeah.
It could have been his personality, it could have been him, but that sound like
divine intervention.
divine intervention again. Someone feeding him, say this, say this. She needs to hear this. Rip them sheets off. She needs to start fresh.
Divine
Come on.
intervention. Sister Walker, God hand has been all over this depression.
Yeah.
All over this depression. And sometimes when I get the opportunity to talk about this, people will look at me like, you?
I know.
Shaunette?
Not you.
You were the... And I always pull people back to Robin Williams. I'm the female version of Robin Williams. I would make people feel comfortable. I would make people feel happy. I would make people... But when all of that is gone, I'm back in my dark space.
Yeah.
Back there, sitting there, looking from wall to wall,
Yeah.
not knowing what was next.
Yeah, I think when he passed away, a lot of people are like, what does depression look like? It looks like me and you. Because we hide it so well. So can you tell us, what are some things to look for, if you don't mind,
Of course. If you notice somebody's withdrawing, right? And you know that this person usually be the one in the middle of things. And they're withdrawing. That's one thing to look for. Another thing that I purpose since my experience is to be gentle with people.
Yes.
Especially within the church realm. We do not talk about this thing. And so many people are struggling.
Why? Why don't we talk about it, Shaunette?
Because
Tell
we're not
me.
supposed to. Because it's of Satan. And because God is good. And God is real. And all of that is true.
Yes.
But this thing called sin and this thing called life plays a vital role in our lives. And sometimes when we are not gentle with others, we create rough edges. And sometimes the rough edges are so harsh that you rub against it and it cuts your skin to the core. And sometimes the wounds are so deep that if not but for that duck and those four little ones, we will have no point of return.
Yeah.
And those are the hurts that goes deep the most.
Yeah.
Within the body of Christ.
Yeah.
Within the body. And I purpose to myself that I will never never hurt anyone.
Mm.
Never hurt anyone. And if I do something not to my knowledge, and I tell folks, you better let me know.
Mm-hmm.
You better let me know, because I do not want no one to get to where I was, because I don't know if they will have the wherewithal skills.
Yes.
I don't know if they will wait patiently on God to bring them through. I don't know if they have kids like mine who can pinpoint it and say, no, my mom, this is not mommy. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. So
Yeah.
because I don't know, I don't want them to get there.
Yeah.
I just don't want no one to get
Yeah.
to where I was.
And you know what? Even if they do, we are human.
Yes.
And sometimes we think we can hold on.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
think we
Mm-hmm.
have this,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't.
We don't.
We don't.
We don't.
And so the smallest little thing, like you said, that I walk into that building, whether it's work or
Mm-hmm.
church
Mm-hmm.
or the
Mm-hmm.
supermarket, and somebody just look at me wrong, that could just have been
This.
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 That's all I needed to be like,
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you're right. I like that we should be kind.
Be kind.
Be kind.
Be kind.
My kids' school, that's their mantra. Be kind.
Be
And they have,
kind.
acronym KIN and what it stands for and all that stuff. And they do morning meetings around just
Mm-hmm.
being kind.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, they're instilling this in the children. Well, some of these adults need that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then I'm saying to myself, what happened between school and adulthood? Like you
Mm-hmm.
learned that at
Mm-hmm.
school to be kind and
Mm-hmm.
don't bully and don't hurt people, but yet we still
We
do.
still do it.
We still do
But
it.
it takes intentionality.
Yes.
You have to be intentional about being kind. So one of the things that I practice in being kind is, if I go to work, so within the last 3 years, I've also, God has blessed me to be able to do some therapeutic work also,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when I have my patients at work, and they come in for their sessions, and I tell them, you have to be intentional.
Mm-hmm.
So when I walk the hallways of the rehab center and I said, how are you? Or how are you today? I do not just say, how are you today, and keep it moving. I stop and I
Mm-hmm.
wait for an answer.
Yeah.
And if they say, I'm good, but the eyes and the mouth doesn't add up,
Mm-hmm.
then what can I do to make you better today? And once I ask that question,
Mm-hmm.
then the whole conversation takes another turn. I said, your eyes are telling me that you're not good because you're going to go punch that wall.
Mm-hmm.
So before you get to punching the wall, how can I help you today?
Yeah.
I have to be intentional
Mm-hmm.
about, when I ask someone, how are you doing, to pause
Yeah.
and to wait for an
Oh my
answer.
gosh, yes,
To wait,
yes.
not just, hey, how are you, and keep it moving.
And that's the common thing that people
Yes.
do. I was
Yes.
teaching a class the other, I forget what state I was in,
Mm-hmm.
and I said those exact words. I said, we're so used to just going down the hallway, hey, how you doing? And we don't wait for the response. But how can we practice that pause, the
Got to
power
pause.
of the
Pause.
pause?
You have to pause
Yes.
and wait for that person to
Yes.
share.
And listen, actually actively listen for those cue words.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, someone says, I'm good.
Mm-mm.
And yeah, are you really
Mm-mm.
good? And sometimes they say, what's so good about it? Tell
Yes.
me.
Or what does your good, what
Yeah.
I'm good looks like?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's when they
And
stall.
that's when they're like, oh, okay, now you got me, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I love that. So I
Yeah.
have that as, how
Yeah.
do we be intentional when it comes to being kind?
Yes.
It's to actually stop,
That. Yes.
pause, and
Listen.
listen.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yep.
So you said, when someone's withdrawing,
Mm-hmm.
you've also learned to be gentle with
Mm-hmm.
people.
Mm-hmm.
What else have you done differently now?
Listen for when people are talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Listen to what they're saying. Um, Listen to their tone.
Mm.
Listen to their tone. And don't let life get us so busy that we can't listen.
Mm.
I was home the other day, Sister Walker, and not Walker,
Walter.
Walters, sorry.
You got it.
I was home the other day at about 2:30 in the morning, and I heard my door knock.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who's coming to knock at my door at 2:30 in the morning? And when I got up and opened the door, it was another female who was going through a domestic violence, right? She showed up at my door, and when I opened the door, I was able to just receive her, and she fell into my arms and she was crying. And I pulled her inside and I put her on my couch. And I said, God, I thank you because you have let me gone through this so I could be here today. Right? And after we were there talking and praying and talking and praying, and I shared with her what I was experiencing, and she was like, really? And I said, yes, but I thank God that He has gone ahead and prepared me so I can welcome you, right? And now I can able to share with you some tools on how to navigate yourself through this. So we have to be willing and purposeful not to withhold our journey.
Love it.
Don't withhold your journey from no one. There is no shame in depression. There is no shame in domestic abuse.
No.
There is no shame. Guilt and shame only keep us hostage.
Yes.
So if we take guilt and shame and turn it into education and information,
Preach.
we won't need to be hiding.
Amen.
But we do that because of the stigma
Yes.
that's placed upon this thing.
Yeah.
And as a church, it's our duty to remove that. We need to have a space where people can come and talk about how they're feeling openly without being judged.
Yeah.
Because if we don't create that, we are going to be funeralizing a lot of people that could have lived.
Yeah. I hear ya.
We are going to be doing that because a lot of people are dying silently.
Yeah.
And I make a pledge to God that if it's my story that's going to be the saving grace for somebody else, I don't have no guilt and shame.
No.
It's all education and information because life happens
It sure
to the
does.
best of us.
It sure does.
To the best of us.
Yeah.
And nobody planned for this,
Right.
but it happened.
Yeah.
And now we just have to equip ourselves on how we can make it better for the next person that's coming behind us.
You know, when you said no shame and no guilt, it's easier said than done, is what I'm processing real quick here, because we have you mentioned the wonderful word of stigma, generational, cultural, right? We don't, like you said, we don't talk about that. Women of color, you are strong, you are beautiful. Yeah, I'm all that. But there's more. And we don't talk about that, right?
And that's when I said, you think of the strongest soldier that goes to war. Think of that one. Even him or her needs help sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
The strongest,
Yeah.
the
Wow.
bravest, even that person.
We weren't placed to do this alone,
No.
right? I think I was talking to someone the other day and they're like, I'm lonely. And I was like, you're not lonely. You're not alone. You're lonely, but you're not alone. And there's help. There are individuals, but we just have to reach out.
Reach out.
But we have this pride. Did I dare say that word? Pride. So along with the stigma, we have pride, because I think of like some men that I know in my family who pride prevents them from doing what they need to do, and then later on they suffer, right? And same with women.
Yeah,
Pride.
definitely.
Yeah.
And when you're in the business of helping, there's no backlash, right? You're here to help. So I have 3 girls, right, and 1 grandgirl, and I have to make sure that I am setting a stage for them to cross. I'm setting a bridge for them firm enough to say, if I'm not feeling well, I have to speak about it and not to hide it, right? And we have to break this generational curse. We have to break this generational stigma. You are not crazy.
Yeah.
Okay? Life causes us to have these emotions going on, and we have to get the tools that will have us to process them and put them where they belong.
Yeah.
And that's all we need. And you have to know that there are individuals out there who can help you.
Mhm.
There are services out there that can provide you with these tools that you need. But one of the things that I'm praying for, Sister Walter, is that just like we have all these departments within the church, there is an emotional support department.
Mm.
An emotional support department that functions highly as if it's the elder.
Yeah.
That functions highly as if it's Sabbath school.
Mhm.
And we start fostering these spaces where our little kids can come in. You have somebody being naughty in Sabbath school, you pull them in that space and let them talk about what that felt like.
Mhm.
So that by the time they get to teenagers, they know that they can talk about how they
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah.
And it's a well grounded, equipped area of the church. And that will beat back some of the barriers of stigma.
I think it's a good start because we leave it up to the parents alone, right? And I forget who was, someone was graduating this week and she said, it was a village that helped me get here, right? It's a
It's
village
a
and the church is
village.
a part of that village, right? So I'm a parent as well and I have three girls and sometimes I'm like, I don't know it all, and it would be really good to have that additional support where they're almost on the same page
Yeah.
as you. I mean, I don't expect them to be doing everything that I do,
Mm-mm.
but if you have these little pieces, like they had adventures, they have pathfinders, right? Where's this
Where is this piece that
that
supports
piece?
that
Yeah.
emotion part?
Because you and I know the school systems are changing
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people are homeschooling because of that. And
Mm-hmm.
so the church could help
Mm-hmm.
you build that
Mm-hmm.
foundation
Yeah.
that your children need in
Yep.
order to be what do you call it, decent citizens or
Yes.
good
Yeah.
citizens, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah. Another one of the things that to look out for is, or not more so to look out for, but what we say. If somebody expressed to you that they're not feeling emotionally well,
Mm-hmm.
don't say you'll get over it.
Oh,
Don't say, just pray about it.
yeah.
One of the best ways that I knew that this person cared about how I feel when I shared it was, how can I help you?
Yeah. And genuinely meant
And
it.
genuinely meant it.
Yeah.
How can I help you? What can I do? Or you can call me anytime and mean that.
Yeah.
So these are the little parts that we can play
Yeah.
in fostering the well-being of someone when they're struggling with depression.
I laughed inside when you said, "Oh, you just get over it. Oh, you just pray about it." I hear that
Mhm.
so much,
Mhm. Mhm.
especially in my little Caribbean
Mhm.
circle. I'm like,
Mhm. Mhm.
okay, I guess I won't tell you how I'm really
Mhm.
feeling that
Mhm.
because you're just
Mhm.
gonna tell me you'll be all
You'll be
right.
all
Just
right.
go,
Yep. Yep.
just give it a couple of days." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, no."
And then it keeps lingering and
Exactly. I
lingering,
need
and
more than a couple of
you
days
need
or,
more than a couple of days. But
yeah,
just
yeah,
make yourself available,
yeah,
and ask God, how can you be of help to someone?
yeah.
Because He has appointed us all to play different roles. So ask God. And I was always a caring person
Mm-hmm.
before my diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
But now, oh, I'm triple, dipple, quadrupled now because I'm so much aware now.
Yeah, but let me ask you this. Now that you said that you were caring before and you're now doubling down,
Hmm.
at what point do you think that you might be doing too much where it might have the opposite effect? Talk to me a
Okay,
little about
okay.
that. Yeah.
So, like I said before, I also practice therapy
Mhm.
work. So with that knowledge that I gain over here, it now creates within me boundaries.
Mm.
Right? It allows me to create boundaries and to maintain them.
Mhm.
So I know within myself when I'm getting too close to my
Mm.
burnt out boundaries.
Gotcha.
Right? And I know how to pull back. and when I do need to reach back out to my therapy,
Okay.
right? I know when I need to connect. I know when I need to make that phone
Gotcha.
call,
Yeah.
right? So I don't stretch myself thin no more. Today, I can say no and don't feel guilty.
All right then. Yeah.
And there were days when everything was yes for Shaunette.
Yeah.
And now, because I know what I'm up against, I can say, not today. Or if somebody calls me to do something and I'm not in, my full strength, I can say, it was not on my calendar, but can we revisit that?
Yeah.
Right? Because whatever I'm going to do, I believe that I should be in it wholeheartedly. And if one part of that is not intact, it's going to deplete something else. So now I am aware
Yeah.
of me.
Yeah.
I'm fully aware of that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I think what I got out of that is that you need to have some kind of self-awareness, self-control. And if you don't have that, don't attempt to do what you're doing.
Right.
Because people might see you and Shaunette and like, I wanna be like her. How is she at peace? How is she so calm and just have it all together? It seems like, well, it took some time
And work.
and figuring it out, right? It took some ups and downs to realize that, oh wait, I'm doing too much. Let me step back. But you have to be aware. You can't just be going, going, going. And for me, it's also the why.
Yeah.
Understanding why am I doing
Why are
it?
you doing this?
So today I'm at church and I'm looking at people and I'm watching and I'm like, okay, why are you doing it? Are you doing it for X? Are you doing it for Z? Right? And not that you need to answer to
No,
me.
no.
I don't really care. But it was just curiosity. And so for me, I started questioning myself. What am I doing? And then why am I doing what I'm doing? Right? And so like you, I've been practicing the art of saying no.
Yes.
And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
Very beautiful. I never knew that word no existed. And now I learned that it's a full sentence. Complete.
Done.
Done. And it's the best part of my life.
Yeah, and not feeling guilty. I remember I would say no and I felt guilty. I couldn't sleep. I would like turn and go to my husband and be like, maybe I should have said yes. Maybe they really need my help. I should. And he's like, no. And I was like, it's so easy for you, so it must be easy for me too. And so I've been practicing that, and it's the best feeling ever.
Feeling. I was at work the other day, and I went to the cafeteria to get some dinner. It was dinner time because I worked the therapy job in the evenings. And the chef at the counter, there was one slice of lemon coconut cake. One slice. I know I'm not supposed to have that. But the other side of us, or me, said I wanted that slice of cake. So I went up to the counter, being all polite, said good evening. I said, may I have that one slice of cake, please? The power of no. And he looked at me and he said, no. May I have a mixed vegetable salad with lettuce, tomato? I proceeded to order what I really came to the cafeteria to order for.
Yeah.
Got my salad, off to my office. Walking down the hallway, I heard, Miss. Turned around. It was the guy. He came to me and he said, I just want to tell you why I said no. I said, nope. You said no, and I have to respect your no. And the tear fell down his eye. And I said, what's the matter? He said, you've been the first person to respect my no. I said, I don't need to know why you said no, but I'm going to tell you why I respected your no. I don't know if you toil on that cake and wanted to sample it yourself just to see how good you did at baking the cake. I don't know if you wanted to take a slice home to somebody to say, taste my handiwork. So when you said no, I just have to accept that. And he said to me, you don't know what you did for me today by acknowledging and accepting my no. And I said, if I had forced you to change your no to a yes, you would have allowed me to gain weight. So I'm glad
Exactly.
that you did me good too.
Exactly.
In saying no's.
Yeah.
And sometimes we forced people to change their no's to yes for our satisfaction. And you know what happened to them after that? They go in that corner and they beat themselves up. Because that's not really what they wanted to do or to say.
Yeah.
But they changed it because we forced them to. And it's about time we stop forcing folks to change their answers.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that. Because that guilt, it weighs heavy. I mean, many a times I've said no, and the guilt is, and the individual, not, I'm not blaming them. They were just trying to get what they want, and they were just on it and on it and on it. And I'm just like, gosh, just accept my no,
No,
please.
please.
Just for now, just
Yeah.
this one time,
Yes.
please.
Yes.
And so, yeah, you're right. You're
Stand
spot
your
on.
truth on your ground.
Yeah.
Stand your ground. If you're
Yeah.
convicted that this is what I need to say at this moment, stand your ground.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So you've shared so many things, and one of them, again, going back to being kind and the intentional piece. So talk to me now. So you went from depression. Now we I think we stopped it at school for a little bit. You were on your second semester. So what happened after that? How did you finish?
So I finished strong. As I said, I graduated December of 2022 and I walked May of 2023, and it was an awesome feeling. Never knew I had that within me. And I remember the day when I got home from work and I saw this package on my doorstep. I saw the name of my college, University of New Haven, on it. So I knew it was the degree in there. But I couldn't give myself the strength to pick it up. And I called my son. And I said, get that. So he got it. And he said, what is this, Ma? He looked at it. He said, Ooh! He opened it up. And he looked at me and he said, Ma, I told you you could have done this. And I said, how do you know that I could have done this?
Yeah.
He said, because you've poured it in us. So I knew you had it within you. It just needed to pull up a little bit.
Yeah.
And when I heard him said that, I'm like, wow. I was so deep down in that depression that I did not even knew I had it in me to sit in a classroom and focus. I did not have it within me. And I remember when I went to school and when I did my first master's, it was MLA format, right? Writing and citation. Now this is APA. And I'm like, what in the world are they? And Canva, what? But the divine intervention again.
Yeah.
God provided these children. My son, he's in college. My daughter, she's a Canva expert. And I remember when I came home one day and I had a meeting with them. And I said, this is where I need your support. I said, you, a Canva? And my daughter said, Ma, I got that. I said, APA, what's this? My son said, Ma, I got this. He said, make sure you share with me all your essays before you submit them.
Praise the Lord.
And he was able to cite my papers and formulate them accordingly until he trained me. And when he realized that I got it down pat, he said, okay,
There
you go do your stuff.
Yeah.
So a part of struggling with depression also, don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help, whether it's from your children, whether it's from somebody you confide in, but just don't be afraid to ask for help because it's a heavy burden.
It is.
It's a heavy burden and you should not have to carry it by yourself. And if you ask somebody for help and they don't give it to you, don't stop until you find the person because they're out there. People are out there who are willing to help you. So the semesters went. I did well. I did exceptionally well.
Wonderful.
Well, I got quite a few awards, and it's all because of God's intervention, nothing of my own. And I could not even take the degree up and look at it because sometimes I feel so unworthy. And that's part of the depression also.
Yeah.
Makes you want to feel that you're not worthy of this. So if I looked at it 3 times, that's a lot,
Mm.
you know. And but as time goes by, gradually I can absorb it and
Mm-hmm.
say, you did this
You
thing, you
did it.
did this thing,
Yeah.
you know. And God keeps reminding me ever so often that, yeah, you did this,
Yeah.
you did this.
You
So,
did it.
yeah,
Be
yeah,
proud.
yeah, yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah,
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
what a wonderful
yeah.
story. I think I have one last thought that
Hmm.
I wanted to just wrap this all up in a nice little bundle for us. So in the beginning you said 23 years of a
Hmm.
social worker,
Hmm.
and you went back to school
Hmm.
for a title of that I can't pronounce.
Epidemiologist,
Yeah, that thing,
public
right?
health.
Public health. There you go. Thank you. I'm like, what?
Yes, yeah.
What's next for you?
I don't know. I don't know. Wherever God wants to lead me.
Yeah.
But one of the journey that I really want to go on is to take this new knowledge that God has bestowed upon me and pour it back into underserved communities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because I truly believe that because of the lack of knowledge, people perish. And COVID has taught me a lot. And that was part of the driving force in me choosing this path of career. That folks are not educated in how to make choices
Mm.
regarding their well being.
Mm-hmm.
And that is part of the journey that I ask God to lead me and to guide me, where I'll be able to be something of worthwhile to communities that are underserved,
Mm-hmm.
and to bring them to an understanding that you are you. You are your wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are not equipped and educated about your wealth, which is your health, you will not be able to make good decisions on how you live.
Yeah.
So that's the area that I want to go through with research
Mm-hmm.
and to make sure it's shown that if you're not knowledgeable
Mm-hmm.
about what you eat, where you live, what you do,
Mm-hmm.
then you can't make good decisions
Yeah.
thereafter.
Yeah. Wow. It sounds like a doctorate coming right behind you right there, right? I think we're gonna call you Dr.
Where he
Shaunette in a
leads,
couple of years.
where he leads, where he leads.
You'll
Yes,
follow.
I'll follow.
This has been really
Yeah,
wonderful, and I appreciate your time
thank you.
and the information. I've learned a lot about just, you know what, I take the be kind. I
Yes.
could do a better job at being
Mhm.
kind
Mhm.
to folks. And the other day I was teaching a class and I said, give yourself grace.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
so even though you're being kind to people, give
Mhm.
yourself some
Mhm.
grace as
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
And be kind to
Be gentle
yourself.
to
Be
yourself.
gentle to yourself.
Gentle to yourself.
Yeah.
Take yourself out.
Yeah.
Talk to yourself.
Yeah.
Take yourself to places that you dream of. Go wiggle your feet in the water.
Mm-hmm.
Pick a rose and smell it. Don't let somebody have to do that for you.
Yeah.
Be nice to yourself. And if you believe that you are tired today, rest.
Mm-hmm.
Rest. And if you believe that you want to go have an ice cream, do that. Be gentle to
Mm-hmm.
yourself also.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that goes a long
Mhm.
way,
Mhm.
because we walk around with these heavy
Mhm.
burdens that I have to do this and
Mhm.
I need to do this. And
Mhm.
you look at other people and like, well, they're there. Why am I not there
Mhm.
too? And so, and then the external of the social media and all of this is playing on you.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know how many times I've given myself like a fast from
Mhm.
social
Mhm.
media, and my social media, mind you, is like
Mhm.
LinkedIn and
Mhm.
a
Mhm.
couple other things. But even on there,
Yeah.
I'm looking at colleagues or classmates and they're thriving. And I'm
Yeah.
like, gosh, I'm nowhere
Mhm.
near where they are. And
Mhm.
I'm like, Shreen, stop it.
Stop it.
Stop that.
Mhm.
And I have to catch myself
Mhm.
because you
Mhm.
start to go
Go
there
there.
and then you find
Mhm.
yourself sinking deeper and deeper
Mhm.
and deeper.
Mhm.
Before
Mhm.
you know it,
Mhm.
you're
Mhm.
having these very negative
Very
thoughts
negative
about
thoughts.
your worth. And
Mhm.
so, yeah,
Mhm.
no, this has been really
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
really eye opening. Thank you so
Thank you for
much.
having me.
Will you come back
Of
again?
course, of course,
Maybe
of
when you're
course.
Dr. Shaunette.
I will be back before 2 years.
Very nice. Thank
Yes,
you
I
so
will be
much.
back. But I hope that something that I said today, can always bring light to someone.
Yes.
And if anyone is struggling with depression and want to reach out to me, to talk to me and to say what should they do, who should they call, be free to do that, because
Absolutely.
I honestly believe that God took me through this journey for a reason. As painful and as hard as it was, I can see the sun again.
Amen. You're a blessing.
Thank
You're a
you.
beautiful, beautiful blessing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for listening in, and hope to see you next time on another episode of Conversations on Purpose. Bye.
Bye.